tell us a little bit about the Defend the Blend Act here that you've introduced this week.
Yeah, it's a really important bill to kind of put a check on the EPA right now, because we've heard a lot of rumors coming out of the EPA that they want to retroactively reduce biofuel blending requirements for 2020. So those are, again, numbers that had already been set, numbers that our producers had already planned on. And so really we need certainty, and the administration, in my mind, should, in a time when gas prices are super high, we need to be looking to industries like the biofuel industry to help lower those gas and energy prices. So it's my main goal here is to put pressure on the EPA. They missed another deadline, failing to announce the next round of obligation requirements for volume for blending. So this is designed to help provide certainty for the market. I'm saying you cannot retroactively change those numbers. Stick to the timetable, stick to these deadlines, and stick to what you say you're going to do. So that's what this bill is designed to do. And I have about 14 co-sponsors at this point. It's a bipartisan bill, which I think speaks to it's a strong statement right now, especially with all the partisan divide that's happening in Washington, D.C. It's an issue that's really a bipartisan bill, and I'm happy to be the lead Republican on this bill.
Yeah, it's it's almost like the Twilight Zone, Ashley, because all of this talk about clean fuel and climate change and electric vehicles, but yet homegrown biofuels provide more benefits than electric vehicles, and we've already got legislation in place. The infrastructure is in place. We've been doing it for 30 years.
Yes, and when you look at people, their bottom lines being affected by inflation and these gas prices, this is a ready solution. I drive a flex fuel minivan, so I know what it's like to put E85 in my car. It's oftentimes 40 to 60 cents cheaper than regular gas in Iowa. E15, a great option. There are there's a lot we can do for education on this around the country, but blending more ethanol in gas lowers the cost at the pump, plain and simple. And so I think it's a good environmental choice. We're helping support our Iowa ag industry. Truly a win-win-win as far as I'm concerned. And so I'm focused on telling that story out here in Washington, D.C., and I'm, feeling good that we have a biofuels caucus out here in Washington, a bipartisan group of legislators who we all understand the importance of this certainty that comes with these blending requirements being set. So no retroactive changes is what we want to see. We want to see a number set so we can have consistency and that those volume obligation requirements are met and stuck to.
Then the other, I guess, big news here is that you're involved with trying to uphold the USMCA with a letter that you've sent off to President Biden.
Yeah, so when you look at what's happening with Mexico, it seems like we're facing some posturing problems from not only the EPA, but from Mexico as well. A key market, obviously, for Iowa farmers. And right now they're playing games over some of the biotech provisions that are in USMCA. Under the agreement, they agreed to maintain an efficient regulatory framework and a transparent one for accepting our biotech products like Iowa corn. And so the fact that they're possibly reneging on this, it's unacceptable. This backtracking is unacceptable. So I joined my colleagues. We sent a letter to President Biden urging him to hold Mexico to these commitments under the USMCA because, again, these are commitments that Iowa farmers are relying on. And I do think it's a good deal. USMCA was, our number one and number two trading partners for Iowa. A great market for our products, but Mexico has to stay true to their word and hold up their end of the deal.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And then before I let you go, a lot of talk about supply chain, obviously. Nobody knew what one was 2 years ago, right? And now it pops up almost in daily conversation. I would imagine there's a lot of talk in Washington, too, about relieving the shipping challenges. What's the latest on that, or what do you know about that?
Yeah. Well, and I know what's unfortunate is I've been having some meetings with private sector companies, and at this point, many companies have had to resort to chartering their own ships because they have to work around these backlogs that are existing in our ports. So we need to get our ports up and running at full capacity. But you talk about supply chain issues. I had a visit on Main Street, Waverly, this past Monday. These Main Street businesses, small businesses, have to pass on those costs to consumers. So when we talk about energy costs being a huge driver for inflation and impacting the supply chain, Obviously, if truck drivers are paying more for gas, that impacts their bottom line. Think about like the small town florist that, especially in rural Iowa, has to drive a large radius to deliver those products. They have to pass that on to consumers. So ultimately, we need to make sure we're again providing this lowering of prices at the pump. I think again E85, that's an easy way to do that, or ethanol blending is an easy way to do that. But ultimately, we have to do what we can to help drive energy prices down and fix our supply chain. And I do think that they're very much so connected, especially when it comes to inflation.